Thinking about leaving your soul-sucking 9-to-5 job? One of the biggest struggles I see people, especially us women, face is the idea of having that safety net, that enticing perks and benefits, and listening to that head trash of what will people think if I leave. I totally get it, and I've been where you are. That's why I created a free guide to help you if you're thinking about putting in that notice. It's called Unlocking Your Exit Plan. Discover 5 things you need to do before leaving your 9-to-5. This guide is filled with worksheets and steps, so you will have hand-holding along the way. You can download your copy in the link in the show notes, and again, it's totally free. Now back to today's episode. Hey there, let's face it, today's internet world is so saturated and everyone is fighting for their number one spot to be visible. It is no longer about running ads and having thousands of people on your email list. It is about building relationships and networking with others to grow your business and become visible. Hi, my name is Candace. I'm a podcast launch strategist and I help service-based business owners develop and deliver their message to the world by using platforms like podcasting and bringing valuable content to those who need to hear what they have to say. Welcome to the Hello C.S. Dorsey Podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Hello C.S. Dorsey Podcast. I have Mark on the podcast today. How are you doing today?
Candace, I'm doing awesome. How are you?
I'm fine. So could you tell everyone who you are and what you do?
Well, my name is Mark Struczewski. I'm also known as Mr. Productivity. I am a productivity expert and an overwhelm buster. We'll talk about that more during the show, I'm sure. Also, the host of the Mark Struczewski Podcast, 923 episodes and counting. You were gracious enough to be a guest on episode 878 on July 3rd of this year.
Yes, and it was so wonderful. I want to let you know it flowed very nice, and it wasn't really stressful and intense. I didn't have to think of anything. It just flowed so well. So I want to thank you so much for letting me be on your show. It was really awesome.
Well, I'm glad you were on the show, and I'm glad you had that feeling, because the last thing I want to do is scare somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we don't want to scare people. And I think with podcasting, I can get into this topic again, but I think with podcasting, I think we put too much emphasis, us as the host, want to, formalize everything when people just love it when the conversation just flows. So I agree 100%. So let's talk about the inspiration behind you starting your business. What was that like for you?
I was fired. That's how my business started. In July 2005, I was let go from my job in corporate America, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I wanted to cry, and I'm like, what am I going to do? They fired me. And then, after I got over the anger, I said, wait a minute. I could be, what is that word? Entrepreneur. Yeah, I could be one of those. I don't know what it was, but I could be an entrepreneur. And that started my journey. So had I never been fired, I may not be having this conversation with you right now.
Isn't that wonderful? I think not the fire part. I think, in that moment, you probably was like, oh, what am I going to do? But looking back on it now, you probably was like, that was the best thing that could ever happen to me. Yes. Yes. 100%. Love it. Love it. So can you remember a time in your business or starting out where you had a hello moment?
Absolutely. So after I became an entrepreneur, I became a wedding and portrait photographer, which didn't succeed. But one of the things that came out of it, now remember, we're talking 2005, social media was still in its infancy. And I said, instead of doing postcard and direct mail marketing, instead of doing this thing called Facebook or email, what if I went and talked to women's groups? Because women cared about photography. So I went to one of my Bible study friends who is a professional speaker, and they gave me some guidance, and I started speaking, and I fell in love with speaking. And so much so that I'm like, well, I want to speak, but I don't want to talk about photography. So I was trying to come up with a topic. I came up with a couple of them that are too embarrassing to talk about. One was called How to Go from Hopeless to Hopeful. I don't know what I was thinking with that one. Another one was How to Overcome Roadblocks on Your Path to Success. Note to self, when you're not successful, don't tell people how to be successful. So one day I was on a call with one of my coaches and I was, uncharacteristically, I was feeling kind of blue. And he goes, "What's going on?" I said, "Well, I really like training, speaking, talking, but, I can't find my topic." He goes, "Why don't you talk about productivity?" And I said, I don't know where that came from, but why would you say that? He goes, "I know a lot of people. You are one of the most gifted productivity people I know. You should share that gift with the world." And the rest, as they say, is history.
Awesome. Oh, wow. That's really good. Like, that was a serious aha moment. A hello
Yes, it
moment.
was. Yes.
Oh my goodness, it's awesome. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about productivity. Let's talk about how we can increase our productivity.
I don't know anything about productivity. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, don't scare me here.
No, it's okay. I'll make it up as I go along. No, seriously, the number one thing I tell people, if you get nothing out of anything I say, just remember this. Tell your time where to go instead of wondering where it went. So many people are living life reactively. They're just, this happened, I'll react to it. This email happened, I'll react to it. This text, I'll react to it. You are not going to be your most productive self unless you are telling your time where to go instead of wondering where it went. That means planning, if you like the shortened version of it. You need to sit down and go, okay, what do I want to do tomorrow, this week, this month, this quarter? Now, will your plan always be perfect? No, I'm a productivity expert. And I even mess up my plan. It's okay. But going through the exercise of thinking about what you want to do, and I know your audience is mainly aspiring entrepreneurs, you need to be working on IPAs. Okay. So if you're listening to this, write it down, IPA. If you're out running, walking the dog, remember IPA, income producing activities. Changing the font on your website is not an IPA. Okay. Changing your headshot on your Instagram is not an IPA. IPA is creating products, posting on social media. I did not say consuming. I said posting on social media. And while I'm talking about social media, let me tell you how I do social media because it is a productivity tip. So what I do is I create a 30-second Instagram reel. Okay. That's one piece of content. I share that in TikTok. Now it's 2. Now, because it's 30 seconds, I share it on Snapchat. Snapchats are snaps of 10 seconds each. That's 3. That's 5. Then I share it on Facebook stories. That's 7. Then I share it on my Facebook page. Now it's 9. Then I share it on Instagram stories. It's 11. And then I share it on LinkedIn stories. 13. 13 piece of content from one video. So if you're saying, "But Mark, I don't have enough time to post on," look, one piece of content, it takes you maybe 5 minutes to put everywhere else. So that's a productivity hack if you want to get your message out. I am trying to do what Gary Vaynerchuk suggests, posting 100 times a day. I'm up to like 60 times a day. But I just told you how you could do 15 pieces of content. Bam. Just like that. You do that 4 times a day, that's 60 pieces of content. Plus, I wake up every morning, I have a daily podcast, as you know. And I share my podcast on Instagram stories, on Snapchat, and on Facebook stories. And you may say, "Well, Mark, I don't use Snapchat." It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I have Snapchat. I just pushed it out. Few people follow me. You don't know where people are going to find your content. But I have to be working on IPAs. But I also have to be on social media. So I try to figure out how can I push out as much of my content as possible in the least amount of time so I can work on those IPAs. You've got to be on social media. I mean, look at Grant Cardone, huge multi-billionaire. He's on social media. Brendan Burchard, Tony Robbins, all these big people, they're on social media. You need to be on social media. You may not like social media, but again, I'm not talking about consuming. I'm talking about pushing out your content to help people.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So the next question I know somebody's probably going to ask is, well, I can use all of that one piece of content. How do I do it? So do I set up a time to actually put all that together? Is there a particular platform or software that can make things a little bit easier where I could just split things up? So how exactly would I take those pieces and chop them up into little itty bitty piece parts to deliver it all over?
Well, for me, because I've got the system down, I literally create the video, post. Okay. I come up with it, and I don't think, I'm going to post at 8:00 and 11:00. I'm inspired. It's been at least a couple hours since I posted. I got a topic. I go record the video. I push it out. Once you get it down, it's not that hard. Now, I'll tell you a secret. Obviously, you do the Instagram reel and you put it on TikTok. That's no work at all. You just have to add hashtags. Then for Snapchat, it automatically splits it up into the snaps you want. Okay. Now for Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, what I use is an app called Cut Story. There's a lot of apps out there. I use an app called Cut Story, CUT Story. And you import the 30-second video you just recorded on Instagram Reels, and then you download it and you always choose the 20-second video, or I don't remember if I do the 15-second or 20-second video. It'll cut it for you. And then you just go and put it on Instagram and on LinkedIn Stories, because LinkedIn Stories is 20 seconds. Yeah, LinkedIn Stories is 20 seconds. Facebook is 20 seconds, but Instagram is 15. So make sure when you download the video from Cut Story, that your video, you choose the 15 seconds, because you just have more stories on the other platforms. And then you just push them out. The toughest part is, depending on how strong your connection is, you have to let them upload. But other than that, it only takes me maybe, from the time I start recording the video to the time I put it everywhere, is probably 8 minutes. And then I go back to other IPAs. Now, if you're not used to that platform, it may take you a little longer. But if you start doing it every day, like Gary Vaynerchuk recommends 100 pieces of content every day, he doesn't mean 100 pieces of unique content. He means put it on all the platforms 100 times a day. You need to get up to that, because a fantastic book, one of my favorite books I've ever read, is Grant Cardone's 10X Rule. Okay. He says most entrepreneurs have an obscurity problem. Okay. Not a money problem. You have an obscurity problem. No one knows who you are. How do you overcome that? By posting content. And if you post something, don't do what I did. I posted an IG reel, I posted on TikTok, I posted on Snapchat, and I went to post on Facebook, and I realized I spelled the word wrong. Now, this offends my sense of being, okay? So I went back and deleted all the videos, re-recorded it, because that's me. I'm weird, okay? I'm like, I spelled the word wrong. Don't do that, okay? Just no one's going to care, okay? No one's going to care. And don't overthink things. There are people out there to say, get the right hashtags. And what I use productivity, or I use winning, or mindset, or success. Look, don't waste your time researching what the top hashtags are, because the point is, if you're going to push out 60 to 100 pieces of content a day, you're going to waste so much time trying to figure out the content. Just think about your content and go, okay, what content, what hashtags go with these? I can't think of anything more. A winning, success, life, tips, whatever. Don't overcomplicate it, because it's better to get the content out there so your obscurity problem begins to fade away.
Oh, I agree.
Man, 100%. That was good. Man, that was
It was. It was. It definitely was. You should definitely take this snippet, and then you can use it again.
Yep. Absolutely.
And use your system. I love it so much. Yeah, I never heard of it's a Cut Story. I never heard of it.
Yeah, it's an app. I think it's a paid app, and I don't pay the monthly, because the monthly allows you to go back all the Cut Stories you did. I don't ever go back to them. So it's a good app. It's not the only app out there. It's the one that I found I like. It's really easy. I wish the other social media sites would auto cut like Snapchat does. One of the reasons I like Snapchat, you've got to go in there and cut it, because if you put a 30-second video on Facebook Stories, it's only going to take the first 26 seconds. It won't split it for you. And I love that about Snapchat. LinkedIn doesn't do it. Instagram does it, but Facebook does. Snapchat does it.
Interesting. Yeah. And when you mentioned Grant Cardone, I found Grant Cardone through YouTube. And it was so funny, because this was way back, a couple of years back, and that was when Periscope was really popular. He was recording himself doing Periscope while recording on Periscope. I was like, and you know what? Russell Brunson does the same thing. When I watch his, what is it called? Funnel Hacker TV. I'm like obsessed with that. And he will record himself on like on Instagram, doing a webinar at the same time, and everything is like live at the same time. I was like, how in the world are they doing it? But like you said, he takes that content and then he's breaking it up. And of course, he has a team that does it for him.
Yeah.
But still, like all those quotes and everything, all them quotes that he puts out there on a daily basis, that's stuff that he's already said. I mean, I know him by heart now, but he take it, he published it, and then later on down the line, he recreate the design and everything, and he published it again because he has like a flood of new audience coming in. So not only can you repurpose your content when you are, like in the moment, but you can repurpose it again later on down the road.
Exactly. That's a very good point. And by the way, aspiring entrepreneurs who listen to this Hello CS Dorsey podcast, if you want an MBA in how to build a business, go get .com secrets, traffic secrets, expert secrets. They will give you everything you need to know. And I am going through that book and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Now, I don't use ClickFunnels. Full disclosure, I'm a Kajabi hero, but I take the lessons he teaches. And matter of fact, one of the things I learned, this is so funny. This is how my mind works, Candace. So a week ago, I got an email from, ClickFunnels and says, here is a testimonial of someone who uses ClickFunnels, a 4-minute video. But I wasn't watching the video or listening to what they're saying. I was watching their funnel because they showed the funnel. I immediately went into my Kajabi, and I should have been doing this all along. So when you go to my website, mrproductivity.com, and you sign up to be a Mark Struczewski Insider, we'll talk about that later. I would just send you a welcome email. Wrong. Now what happens is when you enter your name and email address, you go to another page. It's got a video of me, a crazy, wacky video of me. And I say, hey, listen, I use double opt-in because I care about your privacy. But right below the video is a upsell I wasn't doing that. I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, people are right there. And then I have another upsell. If you click on that and buy it, it says, hey, would you like to buy this other product? That's what Russell teaches. Now, every offer you make, less and less people convert. But guess what's your conversion rate if you don't ask for anything? 0. So you're better to ask for, hey, would you like my course? Would you like to join my membership site? The worst they're going to do is click out of it. But if you don't ask, I guarantee you they're not going to buy. So go get .com secrets. I'm reading expert secrets right now. When I'm done reading this, I'm going back to .com secrets because I can tell you, I think I got the .com secrets book for free. I paid because it's free with shipping. I got the expert secrets and traffic secrets. I think I got those from Amazon, $20. So I paid like $40 for all 3 books. And I can tell you, Candace, I'm learning more from these 3 books than coaches I paid thousands of dollars for, because he doesn't talk about the fluff. He gets right down. Do A, B, C, D. That's what I need. That's what your inspiring entrepreneurs need. They don't need to be motivated. They need to go work on what? IPAs. What is IPAs? What Russell teaches. See how I tied all this together?
Yeah, I like that. I like how you did that. And speaking of .com secrets and expert secrets, I'm going to have to show you what I have with all my 10,000 tabs. I got my expert secret coffee. Yes.
Now, that's the paperback, right?
Yes.
Do you know he completely rewrote that book? And how I know this is because I have a mastermind friend and she's got the book. And I said, well, look at this cool thing on page 21. She goes, that's not on page 21. I said, you know what? In the beginning of the hardcover book, he said, I rewrote the entire book. So you might want to invest the money to buy it. It's tons better. It's completely rewritten. You're looking like a deer in the headlights.
I'm looking at the copyright. This one's, you're right, because this one's 2017.
Yep. The hardcover is 2020. It's worth the money, Candace. I'm telling you, it is worth the money. If you got blown away by that, wait till you get the new book. It's incredible.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to treat myself. Yeah. Cause I love this. Like I listened to the audio and then I like have my little tabs here, but then I was like, okay, let me go back. And I was like, well, I'm still on this part of the part where he says, go and actually do something like for free. He talks about that in the book.
Yep.
giving value for free or just trying it out, starting it out, whatever it is that you want to do, just, what they call barter.
Yep.
Can you do this for a testimony? I'll do this for just a testimony or something. So I'm actually going back through it and I'm like on that part and I have not kept going. I'm still stuck on that, not stuck on it, but I'm working on that part.
You're not rushing through it. And that's the important thing. People read books, they put them on the shelf, and there's so much in this book. And that's how I got testimonials for my course, which we'll talk about at the end of the show, is I went and gave it free to like 4 people. And everyone said, oh my goodness, this course is phenomenal. Now, those are testimonials. So people go, oh my gosh. And as I'm saying that, I'm like, I just redid my sales page for the course. I only need testimonies on there. So guess what I'm doing right after this podcast? I'm putting my testimonies on that. See, I learned something because I'm on the show. See, no entrepreneur's got it all figured out.
That's right. Every day is something new. It's something new.
Hey there. Are you looking to start a podcast without the tech overwhelm? Let me guess. You probably searched on Google and YouTube on how to get started, but the instructions and video left you feeling like, huh? Well, look no further because I have a free guide on how to jumpstart your podcast without the complex tech talk. Head on over to hellociasdorsey.com/JSP. Again, it's hellociasdorsey.com/JSP. In this free guide, you will get a get started questionnaire, a list of resources, an outline for your show notes, a plan your podcast calendar, a schedule for your episodes, and a podcast checklist. Head on over to hellociasdorsey.com/JSP and download it now. I cannot wait to listen to your first episode.
Yeah, so I'm right in the same boat with you. I have all his books. I even got Jim Edwards' Copywriting Secrets.
Oh, me too.
And oh my goodness, I was like, that was the first book that I actually sat down and read all the way through. And I have my tabs.
Yep.
Because I'm a tab person.
It really scares me. So I wrote this up. And listener, you got to get these books. It'll change your life. So in the beginning of Copywriting Secrets, he's got all these questions, which as you can tell on the video, they don't say it. I haven't done them yet because they're hard questions. They go, what are 5 ways your product or service will help people make money? And then he says, you only want to go 10. And then how can I or my product service help them save money over the next week, month, or year? These are tough questions, but you know what? That's how you become a millionaire and a billionaire.
That's right.
These are not like, what's your name or what's your favorite color? These really cause you to think.
Yes.
And if you want to go from an inspired entrepreneur to a wealthy entrepreneur, you got to put in the stinking work. There's no way around it.
Yes, it's the truth. I'm like starting to figure that out now. After 10 years in on this, I'm starting to figure it out now.
Yep.
And actually listening to the things that, people are asking. I had like an aha moment. And then I can talk, but we're going to wrap this up really soon. But
you've been a hello moment, right?
I know why you say my hello moment. So my hello moment was I have a course, I have a podcast course, how to start your podcast. And I also have a freebie that's called Jumpstart Your Podcast Guide. Well, I didn't realize the Jumpstart Your Podcast Guide was actually helping people actually start their podcast and keep it going. So I was like, oh my goodness, I'm putting too much in this. So I emailed my list and I said, hi, I want to know, how's it going? Did the guide help you in any kind of way? And I got 2 responses back. One said, yeah, I started my podcast. It really helped me out. Thank you so much. I was like, okay, well, this is interesting. I'm creating a course on how to start your podcast, but the guide is telling them how to start the podcast. I was like, oh my goodness, I may have to taper back on that. And then I had another person. He said, I started my podcast. I'm a couple of episodes in, but I'm struggling with momentum. I said, there it is. There it is right there. You know how to start your podcast. How do you keep the momentum going? So I was like, okay. So I created a workshop and everything. I put it in my Facebook group. And the content was, even though I had 2 people on still, the content was really good. They were commenting and it was like, this is really good tips. This is really helpful. I'm like, yeah, you can use this not only for podcasting, but for social media as well. And that was my hello moment. Like Candace, they can easily go on YouTube and everything to start their podcast, but how can they build the momentum? How do they keep it going? Because there's so many podcasts out there that only have 4, probably up to 20 episodes, and they haven't kept going. So that was my hello moment.
Now, I want the listener to hear something very carefully. is you said you only had 2 people show up. A lot of people make the mistake of looking at Dean Graziosi or Tony Robbins or Grant Cardone or Brendan Burchard. When they started, they had nobody. So if you get 1 or 2 or 3 people, be thankful because they're probably going to be with you for a very long time. So many people get depressed. They go like, oh, I don't have Joe Rogan numbers. I'm like, yeah. Do you know Joe Rogan was doing podcasting when Jesus walked the earth? Okay. He did it back then when he had to hard code everything. So it's about the journey. And that's why if you read the 10X rule, which I recommend everyone buy, there's no affiliate link. Just go to Amazon, get the 10X rule or listen to an audiobook. He says, look I am on social media everywhere. I'm posting. He says, when people started posting me, seeing me post all the time, first they got mad and go, what are you, crazy? Then they got annoyed. Then they became a fan. Then they're like, wow, this guy's awesome. And you have to go through that process. You cannot build your business posting on social media once or twice. Nobody's going to see your stuff. And if you say, look it's pay to play. It's pay to play unless you post a lot. If you post a lot, more people will eventually start seeing your stuff. If you post one time, no one's going to see your stuff. But I don't look at people say, Mark, you're not doing Instagram right. You're not doing, I don't have time to figure out how to use it right. I create the reel, whatever I'm thinking about. I put the thing what the video's about, put hashtags out, put it out on the platforms. I go back to my IPAs. Okay. Now, I only have 194 followers on TikTok right now. I can't wait to go to 1,000 so I can go live. I can't wait to get 1,000 on the YouTube so I can go live on the app. But you know what? I can't worry about that because if I get live access today on TikTok, it's not going to make me a millionaire. Okay. I still have to do the work. So maybe it's a good thing I can't go live on all these platforms. And I usually don't go live a lot because, I got frustrated. No one showed up, which is okay. I get that. But, it's a process. You have to go through the process. If you are not going through the process, if you're thinking that you're going to do one thing and you're going to become a multimillionaire, I hate to break the news to you, and I know Candace does as well. It ain't going to happen.
It's all vanity numbers, and people get hung up on that.
They do.
Yeah. We can talk about this subject all day.
Yes, we could.
Because I got another topic coming up, but I said, reel it in, Candace, reel it in. So any last minute advice you have for our listeners out there?
Yes. If I can leave your listeners with one tip that will fundamentally change their life is embrace the concept of micro breaks. Now, a micro break is when you're working on a project or you're writing a blog post or whatever, and you start feeling overwhelmed, you start feeling frustrated, you start feeling that tension. I want you to get up. This is really important. Don't just close your eyes. Get up, walk outside. If it's cold, get a jacket. If it's hot, stand in the shade. Don't be on your phone. Never put your phone on not disturb. And just close your eyes and take several deep breaths. That's called a micro break. Okay, you close your eyes because that way your brain's not processing anything it sees. Don't be talking to anybody. Don't be around where you hear a TV or radio. Just get quiet. So a couple things happen. One, you get up and walk outside, gets the blood flowing. Number 2, you're in a different location. Number 3, you're allowing your brain to go. Makes a world of difference. A world of difference. And I've told that to people before and they go, how could that possibly work? I said, look, just humor me. And everyone's come back and go, oh my gosh, I can't believe a 3 or 4 minute micro break changed my day. And I encourage you, if you can see the finish line. This really blows people's mind. When you see the finish line and you're feeling frustrated, you're like, but the finish line is right there. I'm like, go take a break. But the finish line, you want to crawl across the finish line, bloodied and battered? Or do you want to take a micro break and then sail across the finish line? Everyone says, oh my gosh, I thought I would be wasting time, but I'm not. I'm a daily runner, as you know. Okay. And I do the run walk method. So I maybe run for a mile, walk for a 10th of a mile. The reason why is because if you just run straight, you're going to get tired at the end, right? You're going to slow down at the end. Well, I'm building my breaks through the run where you're having your break at the end. So I encourage you throughout the day when you're frustrated, go take a micro break. It will change your life.
I'm going to try that because I could sit here all day, as you can see there. I can sit there all day in front of the computer and, and not even move or anything like that. Yeah. That's a good tip.
Let me know how it works. I have not heard any one person said they didn't work. So let me know.
Yeah, I'm gonna try it today. Yeah. And I had my walk today this morning. So,
There you go.
but sometimes we get maybe get like a coffee or a tea just to do that pick me up. I'm probably going to change that and actually do that micro break just to help me with a new pick me up.
I'll send you my bill.
Oh my goodness. So where can everyone find you?
Well, if you could spell my name, you can go to markstruczewski.com. But because most people can't, go to mrproductivity.com, MISTER, mrproductivity.com, which will take you to markstruczewski.com, just so you know. There you can join my Mark Struczewski Insider list. This is the place I send exclusive content out to my list. It's absolutely free. You can also find out about something I'm really excited about, my digital productivity coaching program. I go live once a month. I teach on some topic about productivity. I have a 12-step productivity process. It's once a month. It's only $49 a month. And I go live, I teach you, and then I ask you, I don't ask you questions. Well, I do ask you questions, but you can ask me any questions you want. That's only $49 a month. And then I have a course called the Basics of Productivity course, which I was alluding to earlier, which I have to go back and put testimonials on the sales page because I didn't do that. That's only, I think, $97. But if you become a Mark Struczewski Insider, you may get a discount. I'm not saying that that's true or not, but you may. So you get a lot when you're a Mark Struczewski Insider. So everything is at mrproductivity.com, including my podcast, which you can go look up episode 878 on any podcast player and find the interview with the one, the only Candace Dorsey.
Yeah. Don't drop the mic.
Drop the mic.
Oh my goodness, it's so funny. Well, this has been like a really awesome podcast episode, and I thank you so much for coming on. You definitely got my day going because it's 8:03 for me over here in California.
You're on the West Coast. Okay.
Yes, I'm on the West Coast. So yeah, my day is going to be really great now. So
excellent.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and thank you again for being on my show. Absolute thrill having you on.
Thank you.
Did you like today's episode? I hope you did. Join me next week for more valuable bombs, tips, and tricks on how to grow your business by taking action. If you like this podcast, subscribe and leave us a review, or take a snapshot of this episode and tag me on Instagram at csdorsey_hello. We would love to hear from you.